Welcome back to the deep dive. We're here to unpack the complex stuff in digital assets and hopefully make it clearer for you. Today, we're looking at a really interesting project, Across Protocol ACX. I'm quite curious about how Across is trying to solve some of those big tangles, in our digital money systems.
Yeah, absolutely. Our mission today really is to get past the buzzwords for you. Across protocol is, it's a pretty cutting-edge way to move digital assets. Think fast, cheap, safe, between different blockchains, especially all those ones connected to Ethereum. And the key thing is this intense-based idea it uses, turning that digital maze into something, simpler.
Okay, and to make sure we give you the whole story, we're drawing on a very detailed report about Across. Lots of tech and market stuff in there. Plus, we have another report with some extra details, including some really recent news, so a full picture. So the goal is, by the end of this deep dive, you'll walk away and not just knowing about Across, but really getting what makes it work, what it promises, and importantly, what the potential red flags are. Okay, let's start with the problem then. Anyone who's, dipped their toes into crypto probably feels this. It's like having cash in different bank accounts, right? Groceries here, vacation there, savings somewhere else. But the banks don't talk to each other easily. Moving money, slow, expensive, sometimes even a bit scary. We've all been there, haven't we?
You've nailed it. That's the core issue. Blockchain fragmentation. You've got all these blockchains. Ethereum, Arbitrum, Optimism, Solana, loads of them booming, yeah. But they're like separate islands. They don't just, connect automatically. So you get these silos. Assets get stuck, users get stuck. And the old ways of connecting them, the traditional bridges, they often have big downsides. We're talking slow, like waiting ages for transactions, high fees sometimes, and big security worries. A lot of them lock up your crypto on one side and make a wrapped copy on the other, or use these multi-sig setups that, they've been hacked big time. Our sources mention this specifically: slow transactions, high fees, and serious security risks with those old methods.
So it's worse than just different countries with different money. Like the money changers keep getting robbed for millions.
Exactly. Huge amounts. And that's precisely why Across wants to build something safer, faster, cheaper, a better way to link these digital countries. But, this whole situation, it really shows something important for you listening. Even with amazing tech, the people side, the governance, the trust, that can be the real weak spot. Something you always need to look at closely. Okay, so how does Across plan to fix this? They use this thing called an intent-based architecture. Here's an analogy. Imagine you need something from a shop in another town. Instead of you figuring out the whole route, the driving, the tolls, you just tell a concierge, hey, I need this product from that new mall. You state your intention. The concierge finds the best way, fastest, safest, cheapest, uses their own resources, maybe their own car and cash, and gets it to you instantly. You don't really care how they did it. It's just that you got what you needed right. That's how Across works. You just declare your intention. Like, I want 1 ETH on the base network, and I have 1 ETH here on Arbitrum to cover it. You don't need to map out all the complicated steps. The system handles the how.
Wait, so I don't need to understand all the back-end stuff, the gas fees, the bridging tech. I just say what I want, and Across sorts it out. That does sound way simpler.
Exactly. The mission, according to reports, is to make blockchains more convenient, accessible, and efficient. They want a seamless network where you don't even realize you're hopping between chains. The invisible bridge, they call it. Makes sense. All right, let's quickly break down how this intense thing works. 3 main layers. First, the request for quote layer. That's basically the user interface where you put in your request, you signal your intention, move X tokens from A to B, or maybe something more complex like move and swap, like posting a job ad. Okay, next layer, the relayer network. This is where the action happens. It's a network of independent go-getters or relayers. They're competing. They see your request on the RFQ system and jump on it. I can do that fast for this price. The quickest, cheapest one wins your business. And here's the clever bit. They use their own funds to send you the asset on the destination chain straight away. So you get your money almost instantly.
So they're like competing delivery drivers, all trying to offer me the best deal for instant cross-border delivery.
Perfect way to put it. Then, finally, there's the settlement layer. Think of this as the accountant and the security guard all rolled into one. Your original funds, the ones you put up on the starting chain, they're held in escrow, like a deposit. The system then checks, did the relayer actually deliver the funds on the other side? If yes, the relayer gets paid back from your deposit, fair and square. And this whole layer is secured by something really interesting, UMA's optimistic oracle. It's like a neighborhood watch for transactions. Everything is assumed to be okay optimistically unless someone spots trouble. If someone sees a dodgy-looking reimbursement request, they can challenge it within a specific time window, maybe an hour or two. If no challenge, it goes through. If there's a challenge, UMA token holders vote to sort it out. It's pretty secure, relies on at least one honest person watching.
Okay, that does sound smart. Efficient delivery, transparent security, like a self-policing system. But what about adding new blockchains? Is that a huge hassle each time?
Great question. And that's where Across V4 comes in with a major upgrade. Zero-knowledge proofs, or ZKPs. They're doing this with a company called Succinct. Imagine like a super trusted detective. They can prove something happened, say, a transaction was finalized on Ethereum without revealing any other details, none at all. And this proof, it's tiny. And it can be checked super fast on any other blockchain, even ones totally different from Ethereum like Solana. The real kicker here with ZKPs isn't just speed, it's universality. A chain like Solana can check an Ethereum transaction is final without trusting anyone in between. No special bridge needed. This fundamentally changes how you can connect different types of blockchains securely. For Across, this means adding support for a new chain becomes incredibly fast. We're talking hours, not weeks or months. The sources say it makes adding a blockchain simple, fast, and permissionless. A big step.
Okay, the tech sounds powerful, definitely. But let's bring it back to me, the user. What does this actually mean for managing my digital money day to day? How does Across make my life, easier?
Right, the practical stuff. Let's list the benefits for you. 1. Speed. Transfers are seriously fast, often under a minute, sometimes just like 2 or 3 seconds. Gone are the days of waiting hours. 2. Cost. Fees are generally much lower than many older bridges. Because those relayers compete, it pushes the price down. Moving, say, 1 ETH might cost less than $1. Pretty good. 3. Simplicity. You just say what you want, all that background complexity. Hidden. It feels more like sending an email than assembling network infrastructure. 4. Security. This is a big one. Across hasn't had any exploits so far. 0. Which is impressive in this space. It uses that UMA optimistic oracle we talked about, which is well tested, avoiding the risks of those multi-sig bridges that have, well, caused so much trouble elsewhere. 5 is capital efficiency. This is quite interesting. Across has handled over $22 billion in volume, but only has about $31 million locked up in its system, its TVL. That means it's using its capital incredibly efficiently compared to traditional bridges that often need vast sums locked up to handle similar amounts. And finally, number 6, future-proofing thanks to V4.
With ZKPs, Across can add support for pretty much any new blockchain quickly. Solana, other non-EVM chains. So more options for you down the line. A more connected crypto world.
Okay, so faster, cheaper, simpler, safer, and ready for new chains. That really does sound like it could be a game changer for moving assets around.
It definitely has that potential, yeah. But, and there's always a but, isn't there?
Yeah.
Especially in crypto, every new thing has risks. And our research highlighted some pretty significant points of caution here, things you really need to be aware of.
All right, what should we be watching out for then? What are the downsides?
Well, this is where things get quite serious. The biggest risk, highlighted strongly in the reports, is a major reputational and governance crisis. Across protocol got hit with serious accusations. The claim is DAO manipulation by its parent company, Risk Labs. Allegedly, the founding team used secret wallets to sway votes in the DAO. And the big one, accusations they used this influence to transfer $23 million worth of ACX tokens from the protocol's own treasury to Risk Labs itself. Now, the co-founder has publicly denied this, saying Risk Labs is a non-profit, the money was for development, etc. But these claims, which opponents backed up with on-chain data, they argue insiders used hidden wallets to push these funding proposals through. This has really shaken trust. It raises big questions about how decentralized Across really is. For you listening, it means you have to ask, does the governance here actually match the decentralized ideals? Can it be truly decentralized if the founders seem to hold so much sway, especially over the DAO?
Wow, yeah. Beyond just the specific claims, what does that situation say about DAOs in general? How vulnerable are they? And how does a project even begin to rebuild trust after something like that? That seems like a huge hurdle.
It's a massive challenge, absolutely. And it casts a shadow. Then there are the technological dependencies. Across, for all its innovation, relies on others for key parts. That settlement layer, it needs UMA's optimistic oracle. If UMA has problems, Across feels it directly. Now with V4, there's this new reliance on Succinct's network for the ZK proofs, another external point that could potentially fail or have issues. Then there's competition. Let's be real, the bridge market is packed, super competitive. Across is fighting for users against established names like Stargate, Hot Protocol, and broader players like Wormhole. Interestingly, Wormhole had that huge $325 million hack back in 2022. Across hasn't, which speaks well for its security design so far. But it just shows how risky this whole sector is, constant pressure. We also need to look at the tokenomics and centralization of the ACX token itself. Its main job is governance voting. but it doesn't directly earn a cut of the transaction fees. So its value, it's tied mostly to controlling the protocol, that big treasury, an indirect value proposition that might not appeal to everyone.
If you don't get direct fees, the value really hangs on believing the DAO is run well and honestly manages the treasury. It makes trust even more critical. Plus, ownership is quite concentrated. The DA Treasury and Risk Labs hold a lot, the top 100 wallets, about 67% of all ACX. That concentration definitely fuels centralization concerns, especially with the governance scandal hanging over it. And lastly, there's regulatory uncertainty, always a factor in DeFi. Across operates in that regulatory gray zone, particularly in the US, those DAO manipulation allegations. They could attract unwanted attention from regulators like the SEC. Could ACX be deemed a security? It's a risk. On the plus side, they have put out a MiCA white paper for Europe showing they're thinking ahead about compliance there, but it's still an ongoing thing, not a done deal.
Wow, okay. That governance issue really does stand out, doesn't it? For a project with such smart tech, it shows that trust and clear ethical leadership are just as crucial, maybe even more so.
So let's try and wrap this up. Bottom line for you. A cross-protocol has this really advanced, intense-based system. It makes cross-chain transfers fast, cheap, and secure. It uses UMA's Oracle and now ZK proofs for potentially massive scalability. Very cutting-edge tech.
But, and it's a big but, its future really depends on whether it can sort out these major governance and trust issues. It needs to prove it's genuinely decentralized to win back its community.
You know, this is a great point to quickly pause and remind our listeners of something.
That's right. If you're enjoying how we break down these complex projects into simple pieces and want more reviews just like this, make sure you subscribe to our channel, CryptoBox. We do all the complex research so you don't have to. So we've seen a cross-protocol, definitely a tech innovator, big leaps in speed, cost, security for moving assets between chains. V4 and ZKPs look really powerful. But it's also facing this huge test of trust, of governance, maybe biggest test of all.
Yeah, and this whole deep dive really leaves us with a key question, doesn't it?
Yeah.
In this crazy, fast-moving world of DeFi, what matters more in the long run? Is it the groundbreaking tech, the raw efficiency? Or is it the integrity of how it's run, the governance, the trust people have in it? How do you weigh those things up when you look at a project's future?
That's definitely something to think about. A really powerful question. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into a cross protocol. We hope you feel much better informed now about its potential and its serious challenges. We'll be back soon with more insights into the projects shaping this digital world. Until next time.